Yes, and that makes sense. It's interesting that you point out that fashion as a category has seen a significant surge, and that's what people like Myntra have also told us. And you do have to look good. Work from home is now all on video, so I guess people are dressing up for Zoom calls as well. But Kunal, I want to ask you about customer acquisition, because that's the other interesting trend that we're seeing across e-commerce companies. Whether you talk to the likes of Zomato or Swiggy or others that we've spoken to, everyone is talking about how the cash burn has reduced because the cost of customer acquisition has come down significantly. It's easier to acquire customers today. Take me through the experience that you've been able to see.
Yeah, I think very similar, I would say. And the drivers for that are uh, probably a couple of them. One is we are seeing a general predisposition of consumers to start buying online for things that they earlier didn't buy online. Could be food or could be products. And so as a result, conversion rates are going up, and given conversion rates are going up, the efficiency on marketing spend is increasing. The other thing that is happening is consumers are spending, they have a lot more time. So they're spending more time on social media platforms, video platforms. And as more traffic is being generated on those platforms, there is more inventory for serving ads. And as inventory expands, the cost per click or cost per million impressions is going down quite rapidly. So the intersection of both of these factors is leading to this sort of geometric progression in marketing efficiency as we speak right
Hmm. So can you give me a sense of what the conversion rate was pre-COVID and what the conversion rate is today for you?
now. I think most companies would it's probably more relevant to talk about how much it has increased.
Okay.
So we've seen uh, about a 20 to 30% increase in conversion rates, which is an indication of, as I said earlier, the intent to buy from consumers. Also, I think another driver in our specific business we've seen, we focus a lot on the regional brands,
Yeah.
the local brands versus the international and the national brands. And what we've seen is there is a surge of new selection that has showed up on the platform in the last couple of months. These are manufacturers in small parts in far off places in the country, t-shirt manufacturers in Tirupur, sari manufacturers from Jaipur, painting painting from Bihar. And we are seeing a really interesting set of selections start showing up on our platform, which wasn't there earlier, and it shows that there is not only a behavioral transformation on the demand side, but also the supply side. So consumers are also getting access to new selection that they
Yeah.
didn't have access to earlier.
As they say, necessity is the mother of invention. So you're saying that while customers are being forced to look at e-commerce just to be able to get their essentials, it's on the supply side as well that this digital pivot is being made because of the many disruptions as well as the restrictions that have been imposed. So on the seller's side, Kunal, what's the increase in the numbers that you've seen, and which categories are you seeing sellers make this digital pivot? Where are you seeing it being most pronounced?
Yeah, so I think the over the last month and a half or so, we would have seen about around 10,000 new sellers join the platform, which is quite sizable given the many more important considerations everyone has to keep in mind with health and well-being and financials, etc. So I think it's a pretty encouraging trend. But the addition has been fairly homogeneous and proportional to what we see as the key categories on the platform. So where we've seen a lot of sellers come on board are, obviously in the early stages, we saw a lot of sellers of manufacturers and sellers of masks.
Yeah.
And health essentials come up, sanitizers, masks. Obviously, those were never large categories earlier. But as time has progressed, we've seen fashion, like apparel, shoes, a lot of home DIY type product
Correct.
sellers. Because consumers are at home, they are baking and they are finding faults in their homes and which they want to fix themselves. We've seen, this day before yesterday, I purchased an interesting product that's like a long springy pipe that you put inside the kitchen sink, and it pulls out all the stuff that's stuck underneath. I would have never thought of buying a product like that. now all of us are buying things that we think can make our homes slightly better.
Because you're spending more time at home, Kunal. That probably explains why you're buying what you're buying. But I also want to understand what's happening on the fulfillment side, because there continue to be restrictions being imposed by various local authorities and so on and so forth. So just being in terms of the managing the logistics and the exercise of fulfilling a delivery, what kind of challenges have you had to deal with there?
See, firstly, I want to say that it is the intent of our company as well as our partners, and I can probably speak for the entire industry, that what is paramount is adhering to whatever restrictions the government, state or central governments put. That's been the case over the last 4 months. I think there's been very, very strict adherence because health of the citizens comes first. Now, what we have seen is that there has been actually an unlocking exercise led by the state and central governments has been exceptionally painless and very, very. All of us, all our partners and our business were up and running in a matter of days. We thought it would take months. It didn't even take weeks. So I think big compliment to all the officers involved and all the administration officials involved. That said, there are ongoing lockdowns. We know in UP, for instance, weekends there are lockdowns. Those in Bangalore, in Hyderabad, in Bihar, etc. We are complying to those. It does create inconvenience for the consumers because they have no way to get many of these products otherwise, as there are supply issues even as they go to offline stores. But what we generally do in such cases is we take an opt-in from the consumer that would you like to still place the order and we will ship it as and when the lockdown gets lifted, whether it's. And I have seen that in 90% of the cases, consumers want the product and they're happy to pay. And we are happy to have the orders as a result.
Yeah,